Oh, I needed this face mask. My skin is so dry. And you know, that's the problem with being on camera so much, is that you can just see your pores. It's like they're screaming out to me, "Close me, Jack, close me." I mean, what I really need is just to book in a spa day. You know, have a little bit of me time. Go in for the full body MOT. I'm talking manicure, I'm talking pedicure, I'm talking chemical peel. I mean, I've even been thinking about getting a boyzillion.
I've even been thinking of disinheriting you. I blame your mother. I just despair. I would have another bottle of this very inadequate wine. Thank you. I don't know. I really don't.
It's called show business, Father.
Piss off.
Welcome to Backchat, the show I host with my father. Now, for those of you that don't know my father, I apologise in advance for anything he might say this evening. His views are a little left field, so you have been warned. And,
What do you mean left field? You're the lefty bit of this family. Yes, you are.
OK, my father's views are very right field, extreme far right field. He's basically the only man in the world that, were he to meet Prince Philip, Philip would be like, bloody hell, he's a bit un-PC.
Well, you're not going to make rude remarks about the royal family, are you? Just leave Prince Philip alone. And the Queen and Prince Charles.
Yeah, we pay for them. They're
No,
fair game.
you don't pay for them. They pay for themselves 1,000,000 times over.
So, on tonight's show, we have some very exciting guests. Later on, we're going to be chatting to some of the stars of MTV's hit reality show, Geordie Shore. My father's particularly excited about that, aren't you? Have you seen Geordie Shore?
I've never, ever heard of Geordie Shore.
Have you been to Newcastle before?
No.
What's the furthest north you've ever been?
Worcester?
So Worcester's the furthest north you went to school in Yorkshire?
Yeah.
Well, that is further north than Worcester.
No, but I never went sort of into Yorkshire, as it were. And we used to go up from King's Cross Station to York in a private train.
Sorry, you went to school on a private train from King's Cross? Did
not,
you have to run through a wall to get to the platform?
We went up to York Station, and when we got out...
And then Hagrid put you in the boats.
And then we spent the term there, and then we came back at the end of term.
To the Muggles. Now, we've also got another guest coming on the show this evening. We've got some sporting royalty. So, we've got...
Princess Anne. You've got Princess Anne, haven't you?
You've genuinely
I know.
got Princess Anne. She's not a sportswoman.
She's the most brilliant horsewoman of her generation. She is.
She's not a horsewoman. She's
is.
equestrian.
Yes, well, the same thing. A horsewoman. I mean, I know she looks a bit like a horse, but no. Sorry, no. I didn't say no. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I'm sorry.
So why am I?
Will you get your editing man to take that out?
My editing man to
I
take
didn't
that
mean
out. That's
to,
how they take it out as well.
Yeah, with that.
I think you're back at Hogwarts again. Yeah. Expelliarmus. No, we have Gary Lineker on the show.
Ah.
You know Gary Lineker.
What, the crisp man?
No, not the crisp man. The England legend, one of the greatest strikers this country has ever produced. Not the crisp man.
No, he was the man who put that, you know, Smith's crisps that my mother used to insist that we always ate Smith's crisps because they had little blue things with the salt in them. And then he started selling crisps by this other company and put poor old Smith's out of business.
We're not here to talk about Smith's crisps. OK, right, enough about crisps. Let's meet the man himself. He's one of the greatest players this country has ever produced. Would you please give a warm welcome to crisp man Gary Lineker. Gary, thank you very much for coming onto the show.
Pleasure.
Now, I'm going to start with football. My thing with Match of the Day when I watch it is I always think around you everything is kind of falling into disrepair. It's like a pensioner's garden. Like, Shearer's getting bald at every episode. Lawrenson, I don't know whether his collars are getting bigger or his head is shrinking. Some of the shirts he wears on that show.
Quite spectacular, aren't
He's your friend. Why didn't you say, you can't wear that?
I do.
You do?
In fact, I had a sneaky look at... He has a few shirts hanging up, and they were quite clearly Loro's shirts.
Really?
And I thought, where does he get these shirts from? And the tag in it, it was Roberto Mancini. So I said to him, you get your shirts from Roberto Mancini? He said, yeah, and he doesn't charge me. And I thought, no, I'm sure no one would buy them, Laura.
It's a practical
It's
joke.
apparently not the same bloke that used to manage Manchester City. So
Yeah, that would be a weird
different
sideline.
Roberto Mancini, bizarrely.
You're amazing on Match of the Day. That is where we know you from now. But you're in the comfort of the studio. You were a great player. Do you miss the buzz of playing?
I think the one thing that's irreplaceable is the incredible feeling of scoring a goal. It's like an explosion of different emotions, of joy, of relief, of all sorts of different things. And the winning of a big game as well. That's something that you can't replace with anything else.
Now, you started at Leicester City.
Yeah.
And we have a connection to Leicester City because my mother, Hilary Whitehall, massive Leicester City fan,
Good for her.
was obsessed with you as a young lady. I mean,
Is that why Michael's not speaking to her?
I think that's why, as soon as you came on, there was a certain kind of frostiness. I mean, not that he's ever warm or friendly. I think this is particularly... Oh, no,
I've got a lot of questions I'd like to ask, Gary, but you're boring the pants off everyone with all this football stuff. I want to know more, you know, more of the personal side. I mean, this isn't a sports show.
I know it's not a sports show, but I thought I'd relax, Gary, by talking about, sport, and then I was going to mention... I didn't want to just go in and say, my mum loves you.
Sorry, it's your show, then.
So you were, in the day, pretty hot shit. And the stats speak for themselves. I, did my research, Wikipedia, so this could all be bullshit. You started at Leicester, 103 goals in 216 appearances. You moved to Everton, top scorer, player of the year, 86 World Cup, you get the Golden Boot, transferred to Barcelona, cheeky Copa del Rey, European Cup Winners' Cup. This is how amazing Gary is, though. At the height of his career, everything's going amazingly. He turns his back on Barcelona to devote the rest of his career to charity work. He comes back to England and plays for a team called Spurs, who, for those of you that don't know much about football, are a few rungs above a pub team. Now that was an amazing sacrifice to make when it was all going so well.
I know.
How did it feel to come back and play with all those disadvantaged people?
Well, playing with Gaza was tough. Yeah.
One of my favourite facts that I thought would appeal to certain members of this audience is that you were born on the same day as Winston Churchill.
Different year.
Different year.
But yeah, well, I share the same birthday, and therefore have the middle name of Winston.
Winston Lineker would have been so much better.
I know, I often think it's a much better name than Gary, isn't it?
Yeah.
1874, 30th of November.
You know Winston Churchill's birthday? I bet you don't even know my birthday.
Yes, I do.
What's my birthday? What is it?
February.
February.
Yeah.
July the 7th.
Yeah. July the 7th. What I was going to say, though, about Winston, because I'm a huge Winston fan.
Fangirl.
Not quite the right word.
Groupie.
Because you must be the only white man to have been called Winston since Winston, really.
And the show comes off air. Thank you very much. This has been the end of Backchat. It was a very short-lived series, but we enjoyed it while it lasted. Please send your complaints to Ofcom. I've been Jack Whitehall. Good night. Now, you watch Match of the Day, quite a lot of alpha males. There's quite a lot of silverbacks. It's got you, Hanson, Shearer. I do imagine that there is that camaraderie with Match of the Day. That, like, after you've had a hard record, you still keep it like you're the team,
the right
communal
phrase?
shower, bit of banter, you slapping Hanson's ass with a wet towel.
But I think that's only happened a couple of times.
No, because in and amongst all of that, you seem to just look younger every series. You do, Gary. You look amazing. What's
I'm not
the
going to
secret?
argue.
I think you're like a fine wine. You've got better with age.
Oh, that's
And
very
you
kind
know,
of you.
as a young man, we have this. This is a photo of you as a young man. Now, from that, which is okay, but I don't think classically handsome,
No.
to this, boom, sun's out, guns out. I mean, that is such a sexy couple.
But if I may just have a word with you about, because you've got a very, very attractive younger wife, and I had the same. Well, I still do have the same. But where you've got this to look forward to is the benefit of having a younger wife when you're getting near my age, because then you've got somebody to carry the heavy shopping, the heavy suitcases on holiday, the car puncture, out of the car, fixes the puncture, and, dare I say, in the bedroom.
Okay, we don't want to hear about in the bedroom with you and my mother.
In the bedroom, light bulb goes on.
Oh, thank God.
She's up the ladder, changes the light bulb,
Thank you. I thought you were going somewhere
and the
different.
sex is good
for
too. Sorry.
Now, Gary, you have an amazing relationship with your kids, but some families are not so lucky. The relationship between a father and son can be fraught, which is why on this series I'm trying to find some new ways for me and my father to bond. This week, after years of him nagging, I finally decided to take him up on his offer of driving lessons.
I think it's very, very important that you learn to drive, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, you're 23, aren't you?
25.
I know, you're 25. Well, I mean, how many people do you know who are 25 who can't drive? It's ridiculous.
I have wanted to learn to drive for a while, but everyone that I've told about this has told me that getting your father to instruct you is one of the worst ideas ever.
I thought this was meant to be you teaching me to drive.
We'll be fine.
Hello, Jack. Nice to meet you. My name's Fanta.
Oh, this is going to be a disaster. I mean, when I first saw her get out of the car, I already got the impression that she probably knew a great deal less about driving than I did.
OK, so, Jack, have you ever driven a car before?
I've played a lot of Grand Theft Auto.
OK, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly run through the controls with you. So if you look down on the ground there, on the floor, we've got 3 pedals, OK? OK, we'll begin by pushing that clutch down, and then just steer out to the left. Good, nicely done there. Straighten up to the right, straighten up to the right. And, oh, OK. So what's happened there, Jack? We've stalled the car, and that does happen.
What are you doing?
Oh, it's a mistake. I thought there was a dog coming in. Panic.
God, absolutely useless.
This morning I was feeling very positive about it, but right from the outset I found that my father's attitude was pretty lousy.
I have to say, and I don't want this to sound conceited, but I think I was a huge benefit to both Jack and the driving instructor woman. I mean, God knows what would have happened there if I just let the 2 of them out on their own.
Jack, the wipers are going. Do you want to turn them
No,
off?
so can we just do it when we...
You know, this is hopeless.
I'm doing very well.
No, you're not.
You're doing really well, Jack. Just
See?
concentrate.
You said that I'm doing
He's
well.
doing very well.
It's very much a matter of opinion as far as I'm concerned.
Stop giving me such bad stuff.
I don't think there's any
Jack,
point
Jack,
you
look where
carrying
you're going.
on.
Look,
Just
you're on the
watch the
wrong
road.
side of the
You're not
road,
even
Jack.
looking at the road.
I
Or
can't
getting
look at the
forward.
road if you keep talking
Jack,
at me.
Stop.
You're on the wrong side
Yeah,
of
I
the
can't
road.
concentrate.
Stop the
If you're
car.
giving me
There's a
such-
van
Stop the
coming around the
car. There's a
corner.
van coming now. This is getting completely out of control. There's obviously one major problem with this whole setup.
I don't see how this is going to help.
Of course it can help. You're driving much better now. Right, you're going to do an immediate left here. No, not in here. This is somebody's driveway.
You said left, so I turned left.
Yes, I meant turn left into a street, not into the Wilson's drive.
I don't know.
Can you back out?
Okay, what do I do?
I don't know, just do the reverse thing.
What my father can't seem to comprehend is that shouting at me doesn't make it any easier. I blame him entirely for what happened on that road where there was the pile-up.
Steer left. Quick, no, stop. You've got to stop. That's it. Now first gear.
Oh, shit.
First clutch down, first gear.
first gear.
Yeah, I know.
It's where it says 1.
Steer to
So
the right.
obvious. Oh, God. This is absolute nightmare.
Yeah, but we got there in the end, and that's the important thing.
The problem, Jack, with you is you just don't concentrate.
Yeah, that's because I had to have you in the passenger seat.
I don't know whether you really want to drive or not, really. Oh, careful! Stop! Stop! God! Hey!
Of course, I also would like to say a massive thank you to my wonderful and very brave driving instructor, Vando, who is here this evening.
Well done, Vando.
Sorry, Vando.
We did our best, Vando, but it was a bridge too far.
Now, our next guests are from Newcastle. Their show has been described by one newspaper as a gaudy kaleidoscope of six-packs, shots, fights, simulated fellatio, and exposed breasts. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mary Berry and Paul Hollywood. That's a joke. It's not. Good one. No. Of course, it's Holly, Scott, and Marnie from Geordie Shore. I absolutely love Geordie Shore. I am totally addicted. Thank you so much for making the show. It's all right. Because without it, I wouldn't know how to go on in life. Now, I have to point out, to fans of the show that are watching, you'll notice we don't have the whole cast here this evening. We're very lucky to have you guys here. But it's quite complicated politics for the show. So Gary won't come on with Charlotte because she has history with Gary. Ricky wouldn't come on with Charlotte and Gary, but only if she was on with Vicky. Charlotte wouldn't come on with Ricky, but not if he was with Gary, and Vicky didn't want to come on with anyone.
Why can't you guys all just get along?
I do. I get on with everyone fine.
You get on with everyone
Only
fine.
because he sits on the fence all the time and won't get involved in arguments.
Really?
Yeah, he's a proper fencer.
Fencer?
Fencer?
Yeah.
What, you mean... We used to do fencing at Ampleforth.
And can I ask as well, delicate question, but I do watch the show, and just to refresh my memory, of those sat on the sofa this evening, who has courted who? Gary, you're not necessarily involved. Me and Gary.
I'm not the Gary you mentioned in any of those. I think you
Oh,
should
no,
make
yeah.
sure make that clear.
Yeah,
please.
that is not. Yeah, Gary hasn't had any history with Charlotte, and was very happy to come on with Vicky.
I'm sure she's very nice.
I'm sure she's very nice. Have you seen Geordie Shore?
I think I saw about 5 minutes once.
Did you like it?
It's brilliant.
So he hasn't seen the show. How would you describe it to a Geordie Shore virgin?
Basically,
Which is, I think, an oxymoron.
basically a bunch of boys and girls living in a house, getting drunk and having sex with each other.
Well, it sounds a sort of a less posh version of your flat, isn't it?
No, but I watched the show a lot, and I've watched it from the beginning. I was so honoured when a tweet I had done was used in the promotional stuff for one of the series, because I described it as being like, I said, makes Towie look like Downton Abbey.
That's a good show, Downton Abbey. I've seen that.
In fact, we've got a little clip from the show which we're going to show you, just to show you how similar it is to Downton Abbey.
Okay.
Father, what did you make of that?
Well, I didn't understand the bit about shaving a fairy. Do you think... Is there a gay man in there somewhere? There's gay baiting going on there.
It's the other meaning of...
Fairy liquid that your mother uses.
Let's
for the
not
washing
get
up.
into my mother's fairy, please. Let's move on. But like, watching that, it's pretty outrageous. Do your parents watch it?
Yeah, I watch
My
it with
mum loves it.
You watch it? You watch that with your mum?
I watch it with my mum. My mum's really laid back. Things like just don't bother her at all.
But Holly, from watching the show, you do have the kind of reputation, I think, for maybe being the most outrageous.
Do you think? I don't think I'm that bad.
So what do you think the most outrageous thing is you've done on the show?
It was...
Is there any moment where you've gone...
Yeah, like, probably... Like, now I don't really think anything's that bad because, like, we've kind of all done everything that we could have possibly done to embarrass ourselves. So, but probably the first time that I was in the hot tub and, like, I flashed me boobs and, like, now I wouldn't be that bothered. But when it first came out, like, no one had ever really done that on telly. And it was on, like, the front page of every single newspaper. And my dad really didn't know, like, what I was going into. And, like, he looked at the paper and, like, there's me with my boobs out.
Scott, I want to pick you up on something that you said in an interview. You said, if Gary has a degree in banging birds, I'll point out again, not Gary Lineker.
Appreciate that.
If Gaz has a degree in banging birds, then I've got a PhD in it. Where is this uni? Because I would so love to do this course.
I can't believe that you're getting into a lot of gags about university, and I think how you disappointed me. We spent a huge amount of money on his education.
Oh, we don't want to hear about me.
He went to a very good school, and then he went to Manchester University.
I didn't want to
So
get
he
a degree.
wasted all that time at university, and you came back with nothing. Well, apart from the clap.
What?
And his sister, but only once. And his sister, Molly...
Why have you got my sister's Bachelor of Arts
Because
on the show?
she went on... She stayed at Manchester, and she got a Bachelor of Arts degree in philosophy.
This is not about... The show is not about Molly.
We don't want to go there about Molly not having a boyfriend, do we?
Get her out, Geordie Shore.
Well, I mean, that's what crossed my mind. But I'm...
You're literally
she
pimping
won't
your
be
daughter off
pleased.
to one of Geordie Shore.
Yeah, well, she won't be. Well, no, this boy seems really charming.
I am
nice
actually quite
boy.
charming.
Well, I mean, if you would be interested, I have actually jotted down a couple of questions here. If you would be interested in at least going out with Molly, I've just got to ask you. There's a picture of Molly, incidentally.
Why the fuck have the lights gone down?
There's a photograph of Molly and her.
Oh, she's pretty.
She's pretty, isn't she?
I quite like.
What? Sorry, what are you
These
doing?
are for Scott, right?
Yeah, obviously they're for Scott. This is weird.
Molly is looking for a steady boyfriend, so this will be a good opportunity to try and put the two together. What are your projected earnings for the year ending 2015? That's the end of next year, roughly.
Reasonable amount.
Reasonable amount, right? Okay.
A tick.
What is the extent of your property and investment portfolio?
Say again, sorry.
What is the extent of your property and investment
Gary, could you be the
portfolio?
interpreter?
I've got a house, yes, I'm could get one.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. I'm assuming that you're a virgin.
Not quite.
You
Not
can't
quite.
be quite. You're either a virgin or you're not a virgin. You can't be quite a virgin.
How white? What's quite a virgin?
No, there's just some things I haven't tried.
So, has he passed the test? Will he be allowed to take Molly on a date?
Well, what about just a date, but nothing more than that? And I'd be on the date rather like that driving lesson. I'd be sitting in the back.
Do you think Scott would be a good boyfriend for a young girl?
No.
I think you could show her a good time, but not boyfriend material.
Not boyfriend material. Just a fun
Not
time.
even a good time?
Wait a minute.
So he wasn't as fun as he makes out he is.
Well, I mean, I can't really remember, to be honest.
Really?
What whole house can remember?
The whole house, what, including Gaz and Ricky and...
No, they just overheard. Holly
So
makes a lot of noise.
This like, superimpose that part in.
Oh, really?
Nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that.
What, do you actually have to put on the sex noises afterwards sometimes?
They do kind of come naturally, I suppose.
Now, Gary, you've sat here and probably think all this kind of behaviour is very unseemly.
No, I'm just thinking I've cultivated a decent image for the last 30 years and it's just been completely destroyed in one show.
No, but I mean, this is, you know, some of the behaviour on Geordie Shore is all very kind of uncouth. And some would say, at times, maybe a little bit vulgar. And you, as a national treasure, would obviously never do anything vulgar in front of millions of people. We got, you know exactly where I'm going. And your face, as soon as I started trying to drive the conversation in this direction, you didn't look particularly happy. But I have to talk about it because it fascinates me. Italia 90.
Yes.
The opening game of the group stages.
Yes.
England are playing Ireland.
Well,
19 minutes into the game, talk us through what happens. National treasure Gary Lineker, who has a reputation as good as gold.
I wasn't very well.
Okay.
I hadn't been very well the night before, and the game started, and after a little while I was starting to get a few stomach pains. And then second half, came out, started cramping again after 15, 20 minutes. The ball goes down the Republic of Ireland's left-hand side. I came over, tried to tackle the fullback, which in itself is ridiculous. But as I did, I slid along the grass, and I inadvertently relaxed. And it was a messy scene. Even in Geordie Shore, you would describe this as a messy scene. It was, yes.
That's amazing. You shat yourself during a game.
I did, Jack, yeah. That's exactly what I did. But, you know, just a little World Cup game with cameras everywhere.
And what did you do once you realised what had happened?
I was slightly fortunate in one aspect, in the sense that it had rained quite a lot just before the game. So the grass was quite wet, so I had to sort of shuffle it out.
You had to escort it out of your shorts?
Rub it in. But then, you know, when a dog sort of... it's quite clearly visible what I was doing on it. And there's one bit where Gary Stevens comes over and he says, "You okay?" And I'm shit myself. But what do you do when you're not well? Dreadful.
World Cup 86, golden boot. World Cup Italia 90, brown shorts. I mean, Gary, I don't begrudge you. We've all been there. Provence, 1996. My brother Barnaby, again, had eaten something that disagreed with him. He was jumping into the pool and slightly overextended on a star jump. We had to evacuate the entire village.
That was not Barney's turd, it was yours. And you know it.
Thank you very much to all of our guests this evening. The wonderful Gary Lineker and Holly, Marnie and Scott from Geordie Shore. And of course, my wonderful father. See you next week with my guests Nick Pure and Lethal Bizzle.
And Backchat is back next Wednesday at 10. But we've more brand new tomorrow at 10 here on 3 as the new series of Him and Her, The Wedding, continues. And Paul must make a decision. But if you can't wait that long, you can watch it right now on BBC iPlayer.